The moment before death in extreme sports isn't what most people imagine. There's no dramatic slow motion sequence, no final inspirational speech. Instead, there's usually just a split second of recognition, a brief understanding that something has gone catastrophically wrong, followed by physics taking its merciless course. Today, we're exploring the darkest side of human ambition, where the pursuit of ultimate thrills collides with ultimate consequences. What drives someone to leap from a cliff wearing nothing but a fabric suit, trusting their life to airflow and precision? What compels athletes to scale vertical rock faces without ropes, knowing that a single mistake means certain death? The answer lies in a psychological phenomenon that researchers call risk compensation, where the human brain becomes addicted to the neurochemical cocktail released during life-threatening activities. But for some, that addiction becomes fatal. The statistics behind extreme sports deaths reveal a disturbing pattern that most participants choose to ignore. Base jumping, the sport of leaping from fixed objects with a parachute, has a fatality rate of 1 death per 60 jumps. To put that in perspective, you're 43 times more likely to die base jumping than you are skydiving. Wingsuit base jumping pushes those odds even further into the realm of statistical suicide, with 1 death occurring for every 500 jumps. These aren't random accidents or equipment failures. These are mathematical certainties playing out across mountainsides and cliff tops worldwide. Switzerland has earned the grim distinction of being the world's deadliest location for base jumping. Since 1994, 118 people have died pursuing their aerial obsession in the Swiss Alps. That's an average of 5 deaths every single year, with 2018 marking the bloodiest period on record with 11 fatalities. The geography itself seems designed for destruction, with 3/4 of all fatal accidents concentrated in just 2 regions. Lauterbrunnen Valley accounts for 55% of deaths, while the broader Bernese Alps claim another 21%. The victims aren't inexperienced thrill seekers making rookie mistakes. 63% of fatalities involve wingsuit pilots, athletes who represent the absolute elite of their sport. These are individuals who have invested thousands of hours perfecting their craft, who understand aerodynamics and weather patterns, who have successfully completed hundreds of jumps, yet the mountains claim them with mechanical predictability. Free solo climbing presents an even more terrifying statistical reality. Nearly 1 in 2 practitioners who pursue this rope-free discipline will die from their passion. The mathematics are brutally simple. With zero safety redundancy, every handhold becomes a potential death sentence. Every moment of fatigue or lapse in concentration transforms into a fatal plunge. Unlike other extreme sports where equipment failure or weather conditions contribute to accidents, free solo climbing deaths result from pure human error magnified by gravity. The psychological profiles of these athletes reveal a disturbing acceptance of death as an occupational hazard. Many acknowledge that fatality isn't just possible but probable, yet they continue pursuing their disciplines with religious devotion. This isn't ignorance or denial. These individuals understand the risks with mathematical precision. They know the statistics. They've lost friends and mentors. They've witnessed the aftermath of miscalculations. Yet they return to the mountains, the cliffs, the launching points, driven by something deeper than rational decision-making. High-altitude mountaineering adds another layer of lethality to extreme sports. Annapurna, the world's most dangerous peak, kills 32 climbers for every 100 who successfully reach its summit. The mountain's death zone strips away human judgment through oxygen deprivation, while simultaneously presenting technical challenges that would be difficult even at sea level. Climbers who survive the ascent often lack the energy reserves necessary for safe descent, leading to fatal collapses within sight of safety. K2, known as the Savage Mountain, maintains a 23% fatality rate that has remained consistent across decades of climbing attempts. The mountain seems to select its victims randomly, claiming both novices and world-class alpinists with equal efficiency. In 2024 alone, 2 Japanese climbers holding the prestigious Piolet d'Or Award died in a fall at 7,500 meters, proving that even elite recognition provides no protection against the mountain's judgment. The equipment these athletes use has evolved dramatically over recent decades, yet death rates remain stubbornly high. Modern wingsuit technology represents decades of aerodynamic research, featuring precisely calculated wing loading ratios and fabric tensile strengths that would have seemed impossible to early pioneers. Yet these technological advances have coincided with an exponential increase in fatalities. Between 2002 and 2007, wingsuit deaths represented just 16% of base jumping fatalities. By 2011, that figure had jumped to 49%. Most shocking of all, in the first 8 months of 2013, 90% of base jumping deaths involved wingsuits. The progression reveals a paradox that haunts extreme sports. Better equipment doesn't create safer conditions. Instead, it enables athletes to attempt increasingly dangerous maneuvers that were previously impossible. Wingsuit pilots now navigate through narrow rock formations at speeds exceeding 100 miles per hour, threading gaps that leave mere feet of clearance on either side. The margin for error has shrunk to milliseconds while the consequences have remained absolute. Leonardo Durant embodied this contradiction perfectly. His Instagram account showcased jumps from locations across the globe, each video a testament to years of dedicated training and accumulated expertise. He understood the technical demands of his sport better than most, once writing that wingsuit flying was unforgiving of flaws but rewarding when executed perfectly. On August 31st, 2024, Durant launched from Mount Morrison for what would become his final flight. Despite his experience and preparation, something went wrong in those crucial seconds between launch and landing. His body was discovered days later by search teams who had been alerted when he failed to return. The geographic concentration of deaths tells its own story about the relationship between terrain and tragedy. Certain locations have developed reputations as killing fields among extreme sports communities. The exits known as High Ultimate and Sputnik in Switzerland have claimed 14 and 9 lives respectively, yet they remain popular launching points for wingsuit pilots. Athletes speak about these locations with a mixture of reverence and dread, acknowledging their lethal history while simultaneously planning their own attempts. Weather patterns compound the dangers in ways that often surprise even experienced practitioners. Temperature inversions can create invisible turbulence that throws wingsuit pilots into cliff faces without warning. Wind shear at altitude behaves differently than surface conditions might suggest, creating deadly downdrafts that can slam aircraft-like human bodies into mountainsides with crushing force. Night jumps carry fatality rates significantly higher than daylight attempts. Yet the appeal of darkness continues to draw athletes seeking new challenges. The gender demographics of extreme sports deaths reveal telling patterns about risk assessment and participation rate. 96% of base jumping fatalities involve male participants, with similar ratios appearing across most extreme disciplines. Age demographics cluster heavily in the 20 to 29 range, suggesting that peak physical condition offers little protection against the fundamental dangers these sports present. Equipment failure accounts for a surprisingly small percentage of extreme sports deaths. Modern parachutes, climbing gear, and protective equipment undergo rigorous testing and rarely experience catastrophic malfunction. Instead, the vast majority of fatalities result from human error, environmental factors, or simple miscalculation. This reality makes the deaths more disturbing rather than less, as it suggests that most victims died not from mechanical failure, but from the inherent impossibility of perfectly executing activities that demand absolute precision under life-threatening conditions. The aftermath of these deaths creates ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate victims. Rescue teams risk their own lives recovering bodies from remote locations, often requiring helicopter operations in dangerous weather conditions. Families struggle with the knowledge that their loved ones chose activities they knew carried extreme risks. The extreme sports communities themselves grapple with the tension between honoring fallen athletes while acknowledging that their deaths were largely preventable through different choices, yet participation rates continue climbing despite the mounting body count. New athletes enter these disciplines every year, drawn by the same psychological forces that claimed their predecessors. The mathematics of extreme sports deaths paint an unforgiving picture that transcends individual skill or preparation. These aren't tragedies born from inadequate equipment or freak accidents. They're the inevitable result of humans pushing against the absolute limits of what physics will allow. Each statistic represents someone who believed they could master forces that have remained unchanged since the beginning of time. What emerges from examining these fatalities is a sobering truth about human nature itself. The same drive that compels us to explore, to innovate, to push beyond established boundaries also compels some to venture into realms where survival becomes purely statistical. These athletes died pursuing the ultimate expression of human freedom, the brief moments where they transcended earthbound limitations and touched something approaching flight or weightlessness. Their deaths serve as stark reminders that some frontiers come with non-negotiable prices. The mountains, the cliffs, the thin air at extreme altitudes don't distinguish between novice and expert, between those with proper preparation and those without. They simply exist as testing grounds where the margin for error approaches zero and the consequences remain absolute. The legacy of these athletes lies not just in their achievements, but in the brutal honesty of their chosen pursuits. They faced mortality directly, accepted it as the price of their passion, and pushed forward anyway. In their final moments, they experienced something most people will never understand: the raw intersection of human ambition and natural law. Their stories continue because they represent the furthest edge of what it means to be human, even when that edge proves to be a cliff. You should like this video and subscribe to the Deadly Details channel for more fact-filled, intense tragedies. Give this video a thumbs up as it helps other people interested in the same content. Find this video, thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.